Hi, it's Beth here on the Not Too Shabby Shop channel today, and I am working with a new Sunny Studio stamp set that is called Little Birdie, and it has cute little bird images and then a ton of great sentiments on there. And the sentiments range from like birthday to Christmas, and there's just some general everyday sentiments as well. So such a cute stamp set. And I am going to make a simple but bright and cheery little card today, and I hope it brings some sunshine and warmth and brightness to your day, especially if you're in any part of the country that is having the unusually cold and snowy weather. So I'm going to start with stamping my images, and I have a die cut circle. It's a stitch die cut circle already cut. That's like about 3 1/8 inch in diameter, and I'm just going to lay out the pieces that I know I want to use, kind of figure out the orientation before I stamp them individually. So I picked out 2 of the little bird images and then that branch. And so I have not used these stamps yet, so I'm just kind of pressing them on my hand a little bit to oil them up so that they stamp cleanly. And then I also stamp off on that wonderful worksheet of one of my daughters. Just because I was stamping off the end, I wanted to have something underneath my circle for that branch piece. So now I'm going to stamp my little birdies, and then I will be done with that. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment as well. So I think I'm going to go with a birthday sentiment on this one. And so I decided I wanted to use the happy and the birdday. I just thought that would be cute. And I was going to see if it would fit on that little banner there, but it didn't. So I'm just going to stamp them in a line, and we'll cut that down later on. And so I struggle here trying to line them up. Just because they're 2 different fonts, I always struggle with that, trying to decide if they're straight or not. So I stamp it and it's straight. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp another one just in case, depending on how I want to cut that down later on. So I am using a new colored pencil set. So I do take some time to kind of figure out what each color is. So I did cut some of that out going forward, but I'm just trying to figure out what the colors look like. I haven't like done a cheat sheet yet for all the colors. So I'm just going to do some simple coloring on these images with colored pencils. I'm not an experienced colorist, if that is the word. So I'm just going to do some basic coloring, some basic shading. And I do like how these are new colored pencils, and I do like how they colored and blended. So I'm going to color the branch just that brown, and I just kind of go back in and add some additional shading towards the bottom of the branch. And then when I feel like that is enough, I'm going to move on to the little leaves, and I pick a couple different colors of green, and I'm going to go with a darker green on the center of the leaves and like the bottom. So I'm just kind of going in and going over that line that goes up the center of the leaves, and then just adding a little bit at the bottom or at the base of each leaf as well with that darker color. And then I'm going to come in with that lighter color and just kind of go over the whole leaf. I'm not using a blender or anything today. I'm just going to use the lighter colors of the pencils to blend, since the images are pretty small, so I don't think that it's going to be that big of a deal. And again, basic coloring here. So once my leaves are done, I'm going to start on my birds, and I decided to go with a bluebird. So a bluebird has kind of a peachy, tannish belly, and then, you know, a blue, different shades of blue kind of on the back and the wings. And so that's what I'm going for here. So I went with a darker peach for the belly, and then I went with more of a grayish blue as my darker color, and then a tealish, not really tealish, more of a sky blue, I guess, for the rest of the body. And then I'm just kind of filling them in and trying to blend Again, luckily these images are small enough that they don't take a whole lot of coloring. So, but I don't know, bluebirds just made me think of spring. Right now we don't have any bluebirds out. We just have blue jays, cardinals, doves, and sparrows and wrens. There are some wrens out there, but no blue jays. So blue jays make me think of spring, and so I decided to color up some blue jays today. And then on that bird that's flying towards the branch, I thought that that little bit at the bottom was its claws, and then after I colored, I'm like, oh no, wait, that's the tail feathers. So you'll see me try to make them a little more peachish. I'm going to try and blend them in, and then I'm going to add some blue. I add a little orange to the belly to try and blend it. But yeah, but I decided, again, it's small enough that it's not really going to matter, and I did go in with some blue so that maybe it looks like it's just the underside of the tail feathers are more orange or peach than blue. So my coloring is done, and now I'm going to put my card together. So this is an A2 size card, and I have a matte, dark gray matte that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/4, and then that was just a scrap piece of kind of a tealish swirl paper. And then I took a scrap piece of white and did a little scalloped border punch on it, and then I'm just trimming that down. I'm going to add that to the top and bottom of that pattern paper just to separate the turquoise from the gray. So I just used whatever width that scrap paper was, that scrap teal, and it was about 3 3/4. It was just shy of that. And I had wanted something wider, but I was trying to use scraps, and I really did like that color. It was just a springy color to me. So I decided to do the white scallops just to kind of add a little bit more to it and brighten it up even more. So that's what I'm doing now, and I'm going to add that top one. And then I do burnish it down just because I was having some glue issues, and then I'm going to trim up the overhang a little bit. And so I have my circle, and I'm just going to try and figure out the placement and figure out what I want to do with that sentiment. So I ended up using a rectangle, a stitched rectangle of that dark gray to go underneath my sentiment, and then I did trim my sentiment down off camera to fit within that little rectangle. And now I'm going to add my matte piece to the front of my card. And then add some art glitter glue to the back of my circle. And then we'll add the sentiment there at the bottom of the circle, kind of covering up the bottom and act as like a, almost looks like a snow globe, kind of. And then I have some white sequins that I think are from Scrapping for Less, like an old Scrapping for Less kit. And I decided just to add those, just to add a little bit something more to the card. And again, just to help brighten it up. This is making me think of spring as I look outside and I see all the snow that we just got the last couple of days. And I know there's a whole lot of you that got snow over the last couple of days, so I hope everyone is staying warm and safe. So once I get those down, I do have that little scrap that I trimmed off of my scrap pattern paper, and so I'm just going to toss that on the inside of the card just to add a little bit of color on the inside as well. And then my card's done. So the stamp set will be linked in the description box below, and I hope you enjoyed this quick, easy, but bright and cheery card. Thank you guys so much for your time today.